So for real, the question really is, since people say water is not wet, and since we ride with this intercoastal waterways right there, right? And it's raining, but rain makes things wet. So does rain then make the water wet? What's your answer, Angelina?
It's already wet.
It's already wet.
It's already wet.
But they say that water is not wet. But rain makes you wet, but that's because you're dry.
So what if you do? Don't you get wet when you get in the water?
You get wet when you get in the water because you are dry.
And the water's
But
wet.
the water is making you, but you only become wet when you go from your dryness to the wetness of the water being on you, not the fact that the water is wet.
Therefore, the water's wet. You just said.
The water is not wet. It's the water that makes you wet.
Exactly. So the water is already wet. If you're dry when you get into the water, but when you get out of the water, you're wet. Therefore, the water is already wet.
The water's already wet.
Yes.
But when it rains, does the rain make the water wetter then?
Yes.
So the water had a certain level of wetness, and now that the rain is falling on the water now is wetter.
Yeah.
But we don't, how can you tell what parts of the water is now wetter than the part of the water that wasn't as wet previously to the wetting of the water?
The bottom is wetter than the top.
The bottom is wetter than it.
Yep.
So
the rain seeps all the way to the bottom, and it pushes the old water up. So therefore, the water at the bottom is wetter.
So what you're saying is that the molecular density of the water that is falling is higher than the molecular density of the water that's already on the ground, hence why it fell out the clouds down into the water, because of the denser molecularity of it all.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. 100%.
100%.
Yes.
So
sounds about right.
Water's already wet, rain makes it wetter.
At the bottom.
So all these people who think water isn't wet is just stupid.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to thank y'all. Thank you, Angelina, for being here for a Cigar Philosophical Moment. Keep it smoking.